What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Today I'm going to talk about collections. So, over the last few years, I've been accumulating a little bit of a collection. Alright, a lot of connoisseurs balk at the idea of having a whiskey collection. They balk at the idea of not drinking the valuable substance that you have in front of you. Alright? Well, they could be right. But it depends on what's driving you. If you look at some of the examples in the last little while, I actually just covered the sheet that I wrote down some of the examples on. If you bought Macallan M last year, let's say, at the LCBO in Ontario, it was going for $5,000, which is a steep price. This year, if you held on to that bottle, you could have brought that bottle back to the LCBO and gotten $6,500. So in 1 year, not even, maybe the last time I saw it on the shelf was about 6 months ago. When it returned on the shelf, it was $1,500 more than I could have bought it for last year. Alright? So, is it worth it to have a collection? If you're not going to drink it, if $5,000 is not something that you can feasibly purchase on a daily basis or a yearly basis or a weekly basis, but you'd be interested in investing that money, the sure bet, in my opinion, is Scotch. Other examples would be Highland Park 25-year-old. In the LCBO, and this is a local thing, this is not necessarily a worldly thing, okay? The prices don't jump that dramatically around the world, but at the LCBO, Highland Park 25-year-old last year, or like I said, about 4 or 5 months ago, was in the fours. So let's say $450. It has jumped to $900, so it's doubled. Balvenie Tune started in the $350 range, also around $800-900 now. Balvenie 17-year-old is in the $300 range, originally around $150 to $180. The 12-year-old went from $90 and it's still climbing, and I believe it's around $150, $160 now. So Balvenie has showed some huge increase in purchasing. So the way the LCBO works is if you buy anything at the LCBO, the one benefit to buying at the LCBO is that you can bring that product back at any time and get a full refund. Sorry, not necessarily a full refund, but full store credit. So if you're the type to buy and collect quite frequently, then these small investments will actually pay out long term. If I were to have bought a couple of Balvenie Tunes, I could return them and have extra store credit to buy a whole bunch of different Scotch. Okay, so currently my collection. All that being said, let's start down here. So I got the Glengoyne 21-year-old. Alright, Glengoyne 21-year-old. I've done the review on this already. Okay, this bottle won't be opened for a while, if ever. I'm not 100% sure. I might hold on to that to see if it goes up in value. Not 100% sure yet. Recently I acquired, through a gift, as many of you know, the Glengoyne 25-year-old. This box is a little tricky because the back is wood, unlike the 21-year-old. This bottle is pretty rare. Currently goes for around $400 to $600 depending on where you are in the world. If this was available at the LCBO, I would anticipate a cost of about $700 because the LCBO is, as I like to refer to them on some of my conversations over the internet, they're drunk. Okay, simply the LCBO is drunk. Their prices are ridiculous, but intelligent investors can take advantage of stuff like that. Okay, I have an unopened bottle of the Glenfiddich Original. This is no longer available in Canada. It's completely sold out. Sorry, in Ontario anyway. I anticipate this going up, maybe not substantially, but a fair amount in the next little while. Macallan edition number 2. Okay, Macallan edition number 2 is coming out at the LCBO December 2nd. It was supposed to be at the end of November. It's been pushed back to December 2nd. So keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be about $175. If you're from Ontario, that's good news. That's actually not too bad. The exchange basically worked out to $140 for me with this bottle. And this was purchased in Buffalo, so not a drastic difference in cost. It costs about 110 American on average across the board. Macallan Rare Cask is currently $400 at the LCBO. Okay. This one goes on average in the United States for about $300. In the UK, about 150 pounds. You can find it pretty much anywhere right now. It's not as rare as it claims, but it's pretty special stuff. They've used a different bottle for this bottle than they have for almost their entire line. The Macallan 18-year-old is still bottled in the traditional bottle, okay? Which tells me that A, they're trying to market the rare cask. B, if it ever sells out completely, all right, the rare cask will probably be worth something, in my opinion. Okay, this is the Macallan 18-year-old. All right, that's 1997 barreling. 1997 barreling. All right, this is the last of the vintages. Now they are simply gonna put the year that that Macallan bottles their 18-year-old as opposed to the year that it was barreled. Okay, so that's a change. So I'm anticipating the 97 to be worth quite a bit of money in the future. I have GlenDronach 1995 20-year-old. This is exclusive. These are the kind of things that you really want to look for. I believe LCBO has 2 Ben Rick single cask bottlings right now. This one is 20 years old. It's cask number 4074. It's a Pedro Jimenez finish, bottled in October of 1995 and barreled in October of 1995, bottled in November 2015. So I anticipate this one going up quite a bit in value. This is bottle number 532 of 735. These exclusives that GlenDronach have are highly collectible. Okay, so if you have an opportunity to buy stuff like this, I highly recommend that you keep your eye out and pick them up when you get the chance. Okay, because they go quick, and each barrel, this is a Pedro Jimenez Sherry Punch-In, so that's the biggest of the barrels, and each one of them has a very limited, under 1,000 bottles produced each time. This one actually has a little bit more for the average barrel because punch-ins are larger, so it has 735, like I said. Okay. I'm not gonna go into all the stuff that I've had open. I will show you a couple that I used to collect that I decided to open, but I will show you as a last one that I don't plan on opening is one of the GlenDronach revivals that my friend Chris from Alberta sent me. This one is bottled in 2015. A lot of people were confused in my last video. They were thinking that I meant that whiskey continues to age in the bottle. That's not the case. Whiskey stops aging once it's bottled. The reason why the GlenDronach 15 and the GlenDronach 18 and the GlenDronach 21 are older than the bottle says is because they're actually using older casks. So they're putting, in this particular one, 20-year-old whiskey in this 15-year-old bottling. It's it has to do mainly with the fact that they closed down for 6 years. Okay, so this one, in my opinion, being 20 years old, being one of the better Glendronach revivals, is going to be worth quite a bit of money once Glendronach revival goes back down to 15 years old. So I'm definitely gonna hang on to this. I'm lucky enough to have 2 of them. I'm definitely gonna hang on to one of them and not open it. All right, the Glengoyne 25, if I can get a sample of that, I'm not gonna open the 25-year-old. If I don't end up getting a sample, like I said in one of my earlier reviews, that's too good to not be shared with the world, so I'll have to crack that bottle open. All right, that's basically my collection. A long time ago, I used to collect Canadian whiskey. I was one of the few people able to get a Canadian Club 30-year-old. It's, as you can see, almost finished now. This was really good stuff. I had a whole bunch of Canadian whiskey, both rare. Whoops. This is another example. This was the red letter that came, the original red letter that came in the wooden box. I decided at some point, just before I started to do these reviews, to sell my Canadian whiskey for higher end Scotch. I made decent money on the bottles that I sold, or they were good trades. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done them. But I anticipate the Scotch value going up way more than the Canadian whiskey. Canadian whiskey doesn't tend to appreciate nearly as much as your Scotch and some of your special type bourbons. All right, so if you are gonna plan a collection, I highly recommend you do it with Scotch as the go-to. The other ones that are very highly collectible right now are any of the big name Japanese brands and Kavalan. That's from I think Taiwan. I'm not 100% sure. Don't mark. I know I got that wrong actually. So Kavalan is not Japanese. Highly collectible. If you can get your hands on it. There's none available in Ontario. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's really good stuff. So keep your eye out for that as well. Okay. But like I said, Scotch, Japanese, those are your go-tos for sure. They are the ones that are increasing in value the most. All right. Anyway, that's my review or my video for today. If you have any questions about collections, I'd be happy to answer. I didn't throw out a whole bunch of prices today because it varies from place to place, but LCBO, like I said, I monitor those prices quite often just because I am in the business of collecting and reviewing, so I kind of have to, because it's the main source of where I can get my whiskey from. Anyway, I digress. Whiskey in the Six on Instagram, whiskey_in_the_6 on Twitter. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.